how does Jever Fun stack up against the competition? Maybe you're like me and you're looking for an alcohol-free beer. Let's see if Jever Fun can take that spot in the fridge. So Jever Pilsener was first created in 1848 in Germany, and in 1991 they created their alcohol-free option, the Jever Fun. Starting with appearance, I'm not the biggest fan of Jever Fun bottling. It's a lot of pressure to call a beer fun, and there might be times when I'm just wanting to have a relaxing beer on the couch, and I'm not having fun. I'm just chilling, just relaxing with a beer. And it feels like there's a lot of pressure involved in this fun. Now, as I mentioned, this beer came out in 1991, and it is a German brand, so it's probably actually quite progressive for them to put an English word on the bottle, and I guess that could be why they've gone for this fun and kept this branding, because the marketing team thought, if we put fun on, must be fun. So I think they could probably be excused for that. I do, though, think it could be time for a revamp. Historically, Jever have got some really amazing logos and branding, and I think they could probably look to revamp that bottle and that branding. Jever was quite progressive in regards to bottling the beer. So back when they first started, they were one of the first beer companies in the region to start using bottles. I think they've got an interesting history, but I think the way they've marketed and branded it needs a revamp. Once the beer has been poured, it does have a glorious kind of pale yellow golden color. That color comes from the Pilsner malt that they use, and it gives that Pilsner malt gives it that grainy sweetness and that yellow color. So look, it's really tough. I think once it's poured, the beer itself has a really good look, and it's great once it's poured. When it's bottled and in its 6-pack, I'm not the biggest fan. So look, I'm only going to give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, not a terrible score, but I think if they did a rebrand, brought in some of those old school logos that they have, I would give it a better score. The next part is aroma. Here I'm going to look to see if it smells like a beer. Does it have the right bitterness, or does it smell sweet or too syrupy? So let's open it up and have a quick taste. I shouldn't have said taste, I should have said smell. But let's have a quick smell. So I wouldn't call it like a very aromatic beer, but it does have a good smell to it. You can smell some subtle hints of the hallertau hops and the Pilsner malt that's in there. It does have almost like a combination of citrus and caramel in the smell to it. So it smells really appealing. It smells really good. I would definitely give it 4 out of 5 points. So for me, it smells like a beer as well, which is really critical. Sometimes these alcohol-free beers, they don't smell like a beer. And for me, the fact that it smells like a beer, it smells appealing. It makes me want to have a drink. It gets 4 out of 5 points from me. So the next point is taste. This is for 10 points. It's weighted that way because obviously taste is one of the most important factors in a beer. If it doesn't taste good, what's the point of the beer? So that's why it's got 10 points. Points-wise for the Jever Fun, I find it tastes really good. It's really, really palatable, really easy to drink. And what's really good for an alcohol-free beer is it has a beer taste. Quite often with these alcohol-free beers, they can be quite sweet, quite syrupy, but this really tastes like a beer. And maybe alcohol-free beers are better if they're pilsners. Just the way that they're created, it may make for a better alcohol-free beer. And with this brand, with the way that Jever Fun remove the alcohol, they basically create the beer the same way they would normally create the Jever Pilsner. And then they do they then heat the beer and do a de-alkalization process. And this, I think, retains a lot of the flavor, and because it's a low, gentle, boil off, it means that that they're not losing too much of the subtle flavors that are there from the Pilsner malt and the Hallertau hops. So for this, like it has a great mouthfeel. It holds its carbonation really well. It has a really nice bitterness on the tongue. It's quite bitey. It's crispness. They claim that it dances on the tongue, and I feel like it it definitely does tick the box for me. So a little bit of pub trivia for Jever Pilsner. They actually have their own well that they use for brewing their beer. So they've had it for well over 100 years, and this water, it's quite a soft water. It allows for less impurities as from what you would normally have from a water source, which I think really helps give it this kind of nice, robust, all-round taste. It's a subtle taste, but it's very distinctive, and I guess it allows the Hallertau hops to come through. And really interesting about Jever, they obviously knew how important water is for a beer, and they were actually very supportive of the Jever town in Germany. So it's a town in Germany. They were very supportive of building a water pipeline, back in the early 1800s, 1900s. So good to hear that they're not just focused on their beer, they're also thinking about the town as a whole. Obviously having great water really helps with their beer making, but yeah. Look, again, really good tasting beer. It makes me want to drink another one. I can easily sit down and drink a 6-pack of these at a barbecue, or if I'm sitting down after work, I'll happily crack open a bottle and drink 1 or 2. So therefore, it's getting 8 out of 10 for taste for me. So finally, we have the overall score for Jever Fun. This takes into account things like I say, like the availability of it, how easy it is to purchase, the cost, and if there's anything interesting about the company that I think could mean that we could score it a little bit better. So I bought the 6-pack of Jever Fun from the local supermarket. It was under 10 euros easily. I think it was almost under 5 euros. So it's a really well-priced beer for a 6-pack. It has quite an interesting history. So from 1848 until now, it's as most German beers do, they have a fairly robust history, and I think it's excluding the fact that they have this fun branding everywhere. I think for overall score, I'm going to give them 4 out of 5, just because they do have a really cool history. They have a really interesting story, and the price and the availability means that it's going to be 4 out of 5 for me. So in total, Jever Fun is getting a score of 19.5 out of 25. So a pretty good score. Like I say, I think there's still a few things for them to be able to improve. A bit more of a subtle packaging for the beer. It's a really good tasting Pilsner, which I guess is what Germany's quite famous for, is creating just really good tasting simple beers. If you look at all the Helles, the lagers that Germany do, it really tastes also like a beer should, which is really, unfortunately, really unique for alcohol-free beers. A lot of alcohol-free beers are too sweet, too syrupy, but this one is really good. So, look, I'd love to hear your feedback. If you've tried it, what are your thoughts? If you've enjoyed the video, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you at the next video. Cheers.